It's hometown station KHTS. It's the Hometown Morning Show with Tori and Kyle. Make sure you go to hometownstation.com for all the latest and greatest Santa Clarita has to offer. And speaking of the greatest Santa Clarita has to offer, a very special guest in studio. It's that time again. Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto joins us in studio. Dr. Jaimie, how are you?
How are you doing?
Hi, good morning. I'm great.
Are you good?
Yeah.
Are you good? What a fanfare. When you come in, you see that incredible introduction Kyle has for you. Latest and greatest, always.
It's very flattering.
You know what? At this point, I think you just put up with us. I really do. Okay, so Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto from Cinema Vet, obviously on Cinema Drive right here in Santa Clarita, and we talk to her every once in a while and see what's going on regarding your pets, regarding dogs, cats, anything that's going on, the latest of latest information. Today, because it has gotten a little bit warmer, it's starting to get warmer and warmer and warmer, we're going to talk about a subject that I just cannot talk about, but will because we have to, and that is snakes. Yes. Snakes versus the pets, especially dogs when you take them on hikes. How dangerous is this?
It's a very real threat for sure out here. We have a lot of rattlesnakes. We have a lot of other kinds of snakes too, but certainly rattlesnakes are the big concern. They can be deadly, so it's important to be aware of your surroundings. They blend in very well, even if they're in plain sight. You can look right at them and miss it.
I heard the babies can be a little bit more dangerous because they don't know how much venom to use when they're babies.
So the young ones are more dangerous than the adults. And it also depends on where they may get bit. So certain areas of the body can be worse on the animal than others.
Where do they usually go for? Do they usually go for the neck or anything?
Well, I don't think they really go for a particular area. It's just sort of where the animal is in relation to the snake. So most of the time that means our dog friend has put their head in a bush, said bush had snake in it, and they usually get bit on the face. So that certainly is very concerning because it can close off airways. They have a lot of swelling, a lot of bruising that's involved with a snake bite, not just the bite itself, but they get extremely swollen all around the bite. So let's say it's on the cheek, it could be this whole side of the face, including the neck, that gets really swollen. So we worry about airways, being able to breathe, cardiovascular compromise, all of that kind of thing. We certainly see it in other areas too, on the paws or on the chest, but certainly the face is very concerning.
Okay, a couple questions. Actually, I have a lot of questions. Does the initial snake bite, I've never been bitten, thank goodness.
Yeah.
Does the initial bite hurt the dog?
I'm sure it does.
Is it the fang,
Yeah. Yeah, you usually see 2 little puncture wounds.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's got to hurt.
Okay.
Typically what we hear is that, he stuck his face in a bush and he just yiped and pulled away and, now I'm seeing some blood on his face. So the puncture wounds themselves can be very, very small sometimes, so it's easy to miss.
And we bring the dog right to you.
Yes, please.
Right to you, like no stopping. Just grab the dog, get it to you, and what then do you do?
So obviously we would assess the dog and find out, where is the wound exactly. If the dog is in shock, then we want to stabilize the dog. It's a lot of supportive care, so IV fluids, things to help stop swelling. A lot of times, if the swelling is bad, we'll even use a little Sharpie and mark the outline of where the swelling is so we can monitor it. If it's getting better or worse, we know where we started. There is anti-venom that we can use. It's quite expensive, and the hard part is with anti-venom, they could have a reaction to that too. So it's
does that have side effects like any kind of drug?
Yeah. And so, it's not without its risk to even use antivenom to try to stop the effects of the rattlesnake bite. It's just all a very tricky situation. We even had one a few weeks ago, and luckily the dog did really well, and we didn't end up using the antivenom at that point. But she was a little trooper and she did great, but it's not always the case that they fare so well, even with, really aggressive therapy. So that's why the rattlesnake vaccine that we've talked about before is so important, because it tries to help limit some of those really bad effects of the snake bite.
I completely forgot about the vaccine. Talk to me about this. So is it good for a certain length of time? Certain vaccinations are only good for, a year, 2 years, stuff like that.
Right. So if your dog is getting the vaccine a very, very first time, typically it's one vaccine and then a booster. Unless they're really small or really large, then you do 3 total. Just because of how the vaccine works, they recommend the 3. But typically it's the 2, and then it's boosted yearly. So we typically recommend doing it around the springtime, so then it's on board for spring, summer, fall, and then we just booster annually after that.
When do you start seeing them all come in, all the bites, the snake bites?
We've already started to see it. Talking with another hospital, they've already seen 8 this season.
Does that seem high for May, early May?
Yes. Yeah. This was even, a few weeks ago, so it was still April, and seeing 8 already this early is...
What are the worst months, do you think? August, September? Depends.
I guess it just depends. Yeah, they're out all summer, and certainly into the fall, because we stay warm so long.
What can we do on hikes? Because this is a big hiking town. We have Seos, and we're always on walks.
Yeah.
We're on walks constantly. And what can we do other than the vaccine to kind of make sure that the dogs don't get into trouble?
It helps to definitely keep your dog on leash. I know how fun it is to let them run around, especially on the hiking trails, and if nobody's really around, it's tempting to want to just let them run, but it's much safer to keep them on leash. There are leash laws, but it's safer to keep them on leash, so you have more control over the situation. You may see something before your dog does, that you can, get around a snake or any other hazard safely, keep them out of harm's way, keep their faces out of bushes.
I love talking to you. Every couple of weeks you come in. I love having conversations with you, but this is so not my favorite conversation.
I know.
Oh, and now I'm like, it's like I feel like ants are all over me. Yes, exactly. After talking about snakes. Dr. Jaimie Ronchetto from Cinema Vet. It is cinemavet.com. A good number to get you is what?
Yeah, 661-253-9300.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks.
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh, snakes. Oh, it's going to take me a while to get over that. But we have to do it. We've got to look out after the dogs and walk in the dogs. We don't want them bitten. Southbound 14.